everybody, welcome back, and today I'll be doing a little summary of 12 years a slave here in this playground. And let's start. So Solomon Northup, he was born on July 10, 1807 or 1808. He had a family in Saratoga, New York in the north, and he had 2 children and a wife. Margaret Northup, Alonzo Northup, and there's another one which I forgot. He has 3 children. Yes, one day he was walking outside after his wife went as a cook in her job, and she brought her children. Solomon Northup went outside and met his friend, who introduced him to 2 gentlemen of respectable appearance named Gerald Brown and Hamilton, I think that's his name. Yeah. And they were all outside and talked about having a circus, and they said they were looking for someone who played the fiddle. Solomon told them that he was very good on the fiddle, and that wow, and that they were surprised. Brown and Hamilton were surprised and decided to take Solomon and offer him a job to play the fiddle in some of their shows. He would just do this and he'd get everyday wages, and he really needed that for his family and kids.
That I watched.
Okay, he decided to take it, and he just took it right away. They went to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. was a big place for Solomon. It was very huge. They did a few tricks, but the only trick Solomon saw was frying pancakes or eggs in a hat. What else? And yes, these were just common tricks that not everyday people would know about. And Solomon got more money or wages than he expected. And they kept on doing this for a while, but then a celebration in Washington, D.C. in a nearby tavern, Solomon got sick or ill, but not drunk. And he experienced nausea and a headache.
He got drugged.
Yeah, he also got drugged as well, because they added some pills inside, which would probably make him sick. Yes.
Why?
And so he decided to he decided to go on a bedroom. Wow! For himself, and he decided to rest. But one day when he woke up, he
Go louder so that they can hear you.
Okay, but can you stop pushing me, please? This is high enough. Okay. So after a day in his bedroom, he finally got into a nice dungeon. Well, it wasn't nice at all. It wasn't pleasing at all. He got trapped, and he had a flashback of what happened in his days in bed. So he wasn't feeling ill anymore, but he was feeling very sad because he had no freedom at all, and that's what he would discover later on. So a man named Birch came into the room and said, "Are you a slave?" he said, and Solomon said no. He said he was a free man, and he tried to prove with his free papers he had in his pocket, but it was stolen, probably by Brown and Hamilton. Yes, I'm not really sure, but I think so. Okay, so after that, Solomon got beaten after saying that he was a free man. So he decided to keep quiet for a while, and that Birch said he would kill him if he would keep on saying that he was a free man. So Solomon spent his life in the dungeon for a while. He was given some food, but he had to change his clothes, which was given by his wife. And so Solomon finally got out of his dungeon, but he had to be sent on a ship to a new place. So he went on the ship with other fellow slaves. He met clever And Robert was a slave who had a similar story as Solomon. He also was captured, and he was also a free man as well. He got kidnapped too, but I'm not really sure if he was drugged or anything happened like that, or if his victims, or if his kidnappers were also Brown and Hamilton. I'm not really sure. And so after that, he went on the ship with his fellow slaves, and he noticed that Clement Ray also said to keep quiet and not to expose his identity as a free man, because he would also get into big trouble because the white owners do not like it when their slaves stand up for themselves. And so Solomon decided to agree because he had no choice. He said he wanted to survive this, and he wanted to get back to his family, and he didn't want to lose hope. And so he continued his journey on the boat. He got reminded of his family and kids, and he wanted to just get out of this slave life. And so after that, he got out of the ship, and he was sent to a man named Freeman. And Freeman gave him the identity of Platt, which he obviously didn't know because his name was Solomon Northup. And so first of all, he got his freedom away taken for him. Then his family and kids, and now his name. What else can he lose? So he got his name taken away with other slaves. One of them was Eliza and her children. Eliza was a beautiful woman. Her full name was Eliza Berry. Am I right?
Yeah, I saw that in the Wikipedia.
Okay. Eliza Berry had 2 children who was, I'm not sure, but she had 2 children who she loved dearly. So after this, he got sent to a slave pen, probably, and he had to take a bath and clean himself because the new slave owners would soon finally to be coming soon. One of them was Ford, who got interest on Solomon and Eliza. Eliza begged to take her children too, but he couldn't afford it. And also when he planned to buy the little girl instead of the boy, since the boy got already bought, well, the free man said, the one who bought the slaves, said that she was too beautiful to get bought so easily, and that he could offer at least a bigger price for her because she was so beautiful than you think. I'm not really sure how she looked like. And so let's continue our beautiful story. Wow, I love this. Okay, so after that, where was I? He got Eliza and Solomon and a few other slaves probably were sent to Ford's plantation. Ford was a decent man, and he had a wife who was Miss Ford. And Mistress Ford. And they owned a couple of slaves. And they noticed that Eliza was crying the whole trip. And that Ford said that the reason was because she got separated from her kids and her family. And so, you can stop pushing now. And so, she felt very sad. And the wife of Ford said that a night's rest and some food would help her and forget about them easily. But it didn't really work well, and that she kept on crying while they were eating. Someone told her to be quiet because she was very frustrated because of her noise. But Eliza said that she was very, 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 very sad, and that she couldn't forget about her kids at all, and that if Solomon was separated from his kids, then wouldn't he be sad as well? And so the night continued, and they started to know about Ford's plantation a bit better. And after that, they were sent to cut down trees, and they were there under the watch of an overseer with Chapin and a little woodcutter, a carpenter named Tibeats. Tibeats was a cruel and sadistic man I heard that too. He was very cruel to the slaves of Ford. He would watch over them and beat them a lot of times. So he watched over Solomon, and he didn't seem to like Solomon much. And so, while Solomon was cutting down trees, Ford seemed impressed by Solomon's ideas and wisdom and much more. So he thought that Solomon would be, a very good slave to him. And so, as a reward, he was given to play the violin or fiddle. And so, after that, when Solomon received the fiddle, he was thanking Ford so much because he didn't expect for a slave owner to be that nice. And so, he appreciated the fiddle and went back to his place. Well, Solomon was enjoying, well, not much, but he was satisfied with his life as a slave, but he really missed his own life as a free man. And so he said, well, I wish I could be back with my family, but there is still hope, he said. Eliza still hasn't given up. And after that, in the morning, she was sold because of how Ford's wife couldn't bear the noise as much. Because she kept on crying because she couldn't miss her children. And so, after that, Solomon had no one else to be with and was still finally satisfied without Eliza's crying, but wondered what happened to her next. And so Solomon worked on making something like a small house, and he was watched over by Tibeats, the cruel overseer probably. Maybe it's Chapin, but I don't know. So he was watched over Tibeats, and when Tibeats came, he said, "What is that?" He said, I hear that you have used the wrong nails. But Solomon said, "Of course not, I didn't." Well, but Tibeats said, "Enough, I do not want to hear a word." And so Solomon was about to get beaten, but everything happened quickly. You know what? You want to know what happened? Well, he took Tibeats' whip and whipped him and kicked him, and they fought. Yes, good. They fought and fought. But luckily Solomon was able to get just a few scars on his face, but not getting beaten very hard or very injured severely. And that was good. And so Chapin arrived with his gang and saw Solomon with the whip. So Solomon stopped and went back to work. And Chapin was pretty surprised what had happened. Sorry, I'll slow down. And so after that, he was about to get hanged by Tibeats and his gang and his Frenchmen, his gang, let's say. And so they were about to hang him and pull the rope, but then Chapin stopped them. If it wasn't for Chapin, then Solomon could die easily and this novel couldn't never be wrote. It was like his life was on Chapin's hands. Also Tibeats.
For part 2?
For part 2, let's go. Oh, bye-bye and see you next